Hey everybody, it is your boy NCSO7, and I was originally going to do a video today talking about the Wii U and 3DS versus the Switch, but then I realized at the last minute the Switch turns 5 years old today, so I felt like it'd be kind of weird, so I'm still gonna do that video, but I'm gonna do it next week because the Switch turns 5 years old today, which is very, very strange to think about because seriously, the Switch came out when I was in 8th grade. Seriously, it's really, really, really scary, honestly, in a way, to see how far I've come and how much life has changed. And honestly, regarding, how I feel about the Switch overall, it's my favorite console of all time. And, this was a system that I've been on the ride for ever since it started. This is the only system I've ever bought on launch day, which I think is one of the big things to mention. Now, I wasn't sure if I was going to get it on launch day. I didn't have it pre-ordered or anything like that. I was just going to hope to go into a store and buy it. Oh my god. If at least they did it back in the day. Oh man, but I wasn't actually sure if I would be able to get it, but I was able to get it on launch day with 1-2 Switch and Breath of the Wild, and 1-2 Switch was okay, but Breath of the Wild was amazing. And while I think the game is really, really good, there was just something about playing it that day 5 years ago. It was just so interesting. The fact that it was such a big game that I could play on the TV and even in handheld mode without that much of a difference other than, of course, the graphics. It is so good. And the Switch has continuously done such a good job. 2017, lots of people will say that 2017 was one of the Switch's best years, and I think it definitely has some rivaling years, but 2017 was a great year for the Switch because we got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, a great Mario Kart game, even if it's just a port. But even then, it's still really solid. We got ARMS, which was kind of lackluster, if I'm going to be honest. It's a cool idea, but it was kind of just meh. It was just meh. Splatoon 2, really solid. Really, really good game. And Mario Odyssey. Oh, Mario Odyssey. Mario Odyssey was one of the big reasons I got excited for the Switch. All the way back in the Nintendo Switch presentation, which that was really cool too. 2018 was okay. There were a good amount of Wii U ports like Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze and Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, but we got some original games like Kirby Star Allies, which I actually do like. I know a lot of people don't like the game because it's very generic and it's very, very short. But even then, though, I don't know. I like the game. Though I do think part of this doesn't necessarily have to do with the game and just personal experience. Because, to be honest, Kirby Star Allies did release at a time when my life was really not that good. So I think that might be a pretty good reason as to why I like the game. And Mario Tennis Aces was just kind of blah. It was okay. I didn't really like it at the time, but I do think the game's okay. Sometimes I like to play it. I think the gameplay is really solid, but I just think the game lacks a lot of love. And we'll get into this later. And Super Mario Party was alright. I don't understand why people hate the game so much. It obviously isn't necessarily as good as the earlier games, and yeah, there weren't a lot of boards and they were quite small, but it had everything else you would have wanted, at least from what I heard, because I'm not that big of a Mario Party aficionado, but even so, I don't get it. And, of course, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which is one of the biggest Switch games that I kind of got tired of eventually. I used to play the game a lot and was really into it, but then I don't know, I feel like it was the fact that we were waiting on character speculation for the DLC characters for so long, on the point where I just got kind of bored of it. I'm going to be honest, speculating on what characters were going to end up as DLC for the game just wasn't really that interesting, since it could be literally everybody. I mean, granted, we got some really cool characters like Joker and Steve and Sora, but then we also got characters like Byleth, Pyra, and Mithra. Actually, I play as those two quite a bit, so kind of odd how that works. But yeah, Smash Ultimate is a pretty solid game. It's a really good game, but even then, I do still feel like the game lacks a lot of magic that even like Smash Wii U had like Smash 4 in general, both the 3DS and Wii U versions. Because honestly, those were the 3DS and Wii U versions were the ones I grew up with, and like that's what got me into Smash Brothers. Like I had Brawl, but like the Wii U and 3DS version really got me into Smash Brothers, and Ultimate kind of just was more of that. I don't know. I've been talking long enough about Smash Brothers, but it is a pretty integral part of the Switch. And then 2019 was definitely a lot better. We had like Yoshi's Crafted World, which everybody forgot, but it's actually a pretty alright game. I think the game's quite good, but I definitely do think the game is quite forgettable, which is why nobody talks about it. And then eventually Super Mario Maker 2, which Super Mario Maker 2 is a pretty solid game. I wouldn't say it's as good as the original Mario Maker, but it's still really good for the Switch. And it's not even really necessarily the game's fault. It's the simple fact that the Wii U was just made for Mario Maker, whereas the Switch wasn't. So it's gonna definitely not be as definitive as you think. But I think for playing levels, it's a lot better. And Fire Emblem Three Houses. Oh man, I remember when I used to be like, that game just keeps getting marketed like all crazy, like the game's just for weebs. And then I tried the game out in July of last year and felt like the biggest dummy in history. It is one of my favorite games of all time. Three Houses is absolutely amazing, so good. It was my first Fire Emblem game, and I honestly did not expect to love it so much, but I do. I think the game is absolutely fantastic. It has my favorite cast of characters for any game. It has such a good story. I love the gameplay, even if sometimes it's a little monotonous. And even though the graphics aren't the best, I'll admit the environments aren't that great. Character models and portraits are beautiful. It's such a good game. And then later on, we would see the Link's Awakening remake, which is a pretty solid game too. I do think the game is a little too expensive since it's $60, and you could buy Link's Awakening DX on the 3DS eShop for like $5, and it's not really that huge of a downgrade. But even then, though, it's fine. Link's Awakening remake is really, really solid. Luigi's Mansion 3. Now, there's another game, just like Three Houses and Mario Odyssey, that really defines the Switch. Luigi's Mansion 3 is absolutely incredible. I really don't need to say anything else about it. It is just so much fun. I've played the game over 15 times. It's so good. I love the visuals. I love the gameplay. I love the level design. Even if I don't think it's necessarily as good as Dark Moon, it's still pretty solid. I like the ambiance the game has. It's so good. But what isn't so good? Pokemon Sword and Shield. I mean, to be honest, I'm not really that big of a Pokemon person, but I played these games. I played Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee as well, but I didn't mention those because I don't think they're mention worthy. But Sword and Shield were not really liked by Pokemon fans. This was at a time when a lot of Pokemon fans were really mad because of the national dex kind of went away, so they cut a lot of Pokemon. But even then, though, I don't know. The game's alright. I don't think it's bad at all. Hell no. I think the game's just kind of mediocre at best. I don't know. And then 2019 was a pretty solid year. 2020 was kind of that weird year because 2020 was definitely a year, if I know anything. And I think one of the big games to mention was Animal Crossing New Horizons, which is pretty good. I don't think it's as good as New Leaf. I think New Leaf does do a lot of things better than New Horizons. It isn't just nostalgia, but let's be honest here, part of it is New Leaf was my first Animal Crossing game. Nothing will ever top it. Literally nothing ever will, despite how much better the future games will be. But New Horizons, even though it does lack quite a bit from New Leaf, it's still really, really good. I still enjoy the game quite a bit and play it every once in a while. I'll say this right now, it's a lot better than Amiibo Festival, so at least it has that going for it. At least it's an actual Animal Crossing game. And it really worked well for its timing of release, since it released around the time that something pretty big hit the world, and is still hitting the world, even to this day. Almost 2 years later. God damn. But yeah, anyways, New Horizons is a really solid game. There was also Clubhouse Games 51, whatever it was. I didn't play it, but I think it's a worthy enough game because it's a bunch of like card games and stuff like that you can play on the Switch, which is pretty cool. And then the next game is Paper Mario: The Origami King. God, this game is so good. I genuinely don't know why people complain about this game so much, because like I see two groups. It's two people, like, or two groups specifically. One group that really likes the game, and then there's the other group that absolutely despises the game, but more than likely never played it. There is also another group, but I'm not going to mention them because they're not mention worthy. And okay, I'll mention it. The group that essentially just admits that the game isn't as good and it's kind of just there, but it's not really a bad game. But honestly, if you got to either be positive or negative. And honestly, Origami King is a great game. Yes, the game doesn't give you experience for battling, so there's not really much for points of the battle system, blah, blah, blah. But seriously, that's like legit the only thing. Seriously, the game looks beautiful. The game story, well, it's not amazing at all. I think it has some really good development throughout the game, especially for one of the characters. But I'm not going to get into a full-on rant, but the gameplay is really solid in the overworld. This game really gives you a big reason to explore around because there's so much to find and whatnot, and the music for the game is so goddamn good. I just don't get it. This game is absolutely amazing. Play it if you can. And that was kind of it for 2020. I mean, there was Hyrule Warriors' Age of Calamity, but I never played it outside of the demo, which, let me tell you right now, I'm glad I played that demo because while I initially wanted to get the game for Christmas, after playing that demo, I removed Age of Calamity from my Christmas list like you wouldn't believe. That game was atrocious with its presentation. Now, to be fair, it could maybe be better, but seriously, not even that good of resolution and an awful, abysmal frame rate of 5 FPS. It wasn't that good. And then 2021 was pretty alright. I think it was okay. We got stuff like new Pokemon Snap, which was alright, even though I didn't play a lot of it. And yeah, there wasn't really a lot early in the year, but there was definitely a lot more in the later part of the year. Specifically, like WarioWare Get It Together, which was pretty good. At least I think so. Even though I think the game isn't as good as the other WarioWare games, it's still pretty solid. And, of course, Metroid Dread, which a lot of people really like. And Mario Party Superstars, which is also a game that a lot of people really like. And there was like the Pokemon remakes and whatnot. And 2021 was pretty good. And 2022 seems to be really good for the Switch, with games like Kirby and the Forgotten Land coming soon, as well as Splatoon 3, Bayonetta 3, Fire Emblem 3 Hopes, cannot wait, and Breath of the Wild 2, and even Pokemon Legends Arceus releasing as well, which is another really solid game. The Switch has a lot of great games. Now, this isn't all the Switch games. I'm sure I left a lot of them out, but oh, Xenoblade 2, I forgot that one. But I actually haven't played that much of the game, and I'm not a Xenoblade person at all, even though I wish I could be. But anyways, that's pretty much me talking about the Switch. Overall, I have some great memories of the Switch, and the reason I love it so much is because it has so many quality games. Seriously, I see so many people complain about how the 3DS and Wii U had better games, but yet the Switch has so many solid games and a better variety. So kind of use that as a bit of a tease into next week's video, where I will actually talk about the Nintendo console war between the Wii U and 3DS versus the Switch, and kind of what I think about it. But anyways, thank you for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know some of your favorite Switch memories down in the comments below and what your thoughts on the Switch are. And with that being said, this is N607 signing out. Peace out, take care, and I'm going to bed because I'm tired.